and gentlemen, in the absence of Chair Bill Byers and Vice Chair.
Is your microphone on because it's not sticking
No,
out?
nothing's on. Nothing's wrong.
It's usually already
Testing.
It's usually on.
Testing. Testing.
It might be something that didn't get turned on in
That cyber.
the side room.
Well, Tom, I can ask Tom.
What's
your shorthand, Mary Lee?
Yeah, right. Val,
What's that?
There,
What's
Tom
that?
can help you.
Generation.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. What's so much acrylic use?
Well, when I first went to college,
That's first grade
like an
representation.
acronym.
It's gonna be a quick
And then, of course, computers came, and suddenly, so many persons.
So Carl,
Yep.
it's nice having your son home and listen to piano again.
Oh, he listened to serenade,
That's nice.
Is he majoring in music now?
He minored in music. They want him to major, but he couldn't do it time-wise with engineering. So he's already done his minor in music, it's done. He went to Bali and studied music for 6 months.
Yeah. I love listening to the piano.
Oh, I know.
He's really very good. Not that I know anything about the piano. So does anybody need to read a
They've just been warming up.
There
you go.
Yeah, yeah.
We're all on.
While we're waiting,
No, we're all set.
I think you all were at those meetings, maybe you weren't at that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
Okay, so you all have this. and-
Yeah.
I think we're on.
That's mine.
Are we on? We're on.
Yeah, we are. Go ahead, open the
And
meeting.
Dick, you have one, right?
What?
You got one of these at the meeting.
I did.
I just wanted to make a report, a quick report, that's it.
What's called?
Well, unless you want me to talk more about it. I don't know.
Let's skip the
Let's
gentleman.
get to this.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We certainly apologize for the delay. My name is Ed Toohey. I'm the Secretary of the Board, and the third in the row as far as chair is concerned, with the absence of both the chair and the vice chair this evening. A rather unusual situation for us. I'm be happy to introduce the other members of the board that are here this evening. Peter Brothers, to my far left.
Good evening, everyone.
To my immediate left, Liz Lapham. To my near right, Richard Gherkin. To his right, from the staff here in Meredith, Angela Lebrecht. She is the town planner. And at the far right, separate table, is Mary Lee Harvey, a member of the staff at the annex to the town hall where our planning office is. This is the planning board meeting for December 23rd, 2014, as scheduled.
It doesn't sound like the mic is picking you up.
It's working.
It's working.
Okay, we'll continue to try.
That's better. Oh, that's better.
How's this mic? A little better
It's better than
still?
it was.
Okay.
We're on. Very good.
First order of business it would be to review and approve the minutes of the November 25th, 2014 meeting. I ask for a motion. We have a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I second.
Mr. Brothers, thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the public hearings. To the application submissions. We have one application submission this evening. It is in the matter of Gillian Emmons and Eric Cohen, a proposed subdivision of tax map R14, lot 57, into two lots, one being of 104,491 square feet, the second at 97,432 square feet, located on 21 Loon Point Road in the Shoreline District. Angela, could you please
Yes,
give us some
thank you.
information? Thank you.
This is a lakefront house with an existing, or lakefront parcel with an existing single-family dwelling on Lake Wickwas, and the proposed subdivision is just to split this one lot in half, or not exactly in half, but into two lots. The subdivision plan and a butters list are on file, the fees have been paid, and it's recommended the application be accepted as complete for a public hearing this evening.
Thank you, Angela. To the board, is there any discussion? Then I would ask that someone make a motion that we accept the application.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the application as complete for a public hearing tonight.
I second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And that being the only application submission this evening, we will move toward it. However, I do want to introduce a guest this evening that is joining us. I believe it's Tom Hughes.
Yes.
And Angela has informed me that you might be interested in being an alternate on the planning board. We welcome you this evening. And,
Thank you. I think
and
I can handle this.
at the conclusion of the meeting, if you have some questions, we'll certainly give you that opportunity to ask them.
Thank you.
Okay, Carl?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Carl Johnson from Advanced Land Surveying here in Meredith, New Hampshire. And my Christmas present to the board this evening will hopefully be the shortest subdivision application and approval of 2014. Just a little bit of a history for this parcel, which is located on Chemung Road, and your plan says Chemung Road, which I've corrected to Chemung Road, and Loon Point Road, Chemung Road being a town road, Loon Point Road being a private road. This is a just slightly under 5-acre parcel of land with a dwelling, as you can see, on the northern portion of the property. And this portion of Lake Wickwas is in an area where there is a fairly significant marshland that is in between much of the property and what you would call the navigable portion of the lake. And so in order to prepare a plan that adequately shows the upland, Randall Shuey of Shuey Environmental mapped the wetlands, and you can see them highlighted on the plan up here that I have on the board. The long line to the east of the property is the limit of the marshland and lake, depending on which portion of the property you're on. And then there is one isolated, non-designated wetland that you can see in the middle of the lower portion of the property. The genesis of this project was that the Lake Wickwas Association is partnering with both the Lakes Region Conservation Trust and the state of New Hampshire and the Meredith Conservation Commission to protect and preserve significant parcels along the southerly shoreline of Lake Wickwas. And they're in the process of securing, by conservation easement, many parcels. It's a little bit different in this particular case because the funding is already available. The funding is from the state of New Hampshire. It's available to the Lakes Region Conservation Trust to participate in this project to try to protect these properties. So instead of the Cohen property being burdened by easement for the benefit of the Lakes Region Conservation Trust, We're preparing a subdivision plan to show that it's a separate lot of record so that it can be conveyed to the Lakes Region Conservation Trust and would not be burdened by an easement to the Cohens. And in order to do that, we had to demonstrate that we had sufficient density, we had sufficient lot size and so forth. So the upper portion of the property is essentially divided from the lower portion of the property by this skinny neck right here that comes very close to the road. So it's kind of a natural place to create a division line. So we created a division line just to the north of that. And as you can see, it results as about 101,000 square foot parcel. The existing home is there with an existing septic system, fairly new construction of both. And what we did down below is we dug a test pit, as you can see, the southerly portion of the property, and we showed a proposed driveway and a possible house location. Although when everything comes to fruition here and the property is conveyed to the Lakes Region Conservation Trust, it's immediately going to go in a conservation easement, and it's going to be nothing on this property. So we're just kind of going through the routine to show these things and making sure that the town is protected. If this thing turned to stone, it still would be a legal lot. Worst case scenario is you'd end up, with 2 houses on about 5 acres of land, which meets all the density and the lot requirements. So there's really no danger to the town. And as I mentioned, this thing is really farther along than the normal situation, and the funding's already in place. And as soon as this plan is approved by both the town and the state, it will be conveyed to Lakes Region Conservation Trust with a further layering of an easement, I believe, to the Meredith Conservation Commission. And I'm not quite sure of this. I was hoping that somebody from the trust was going to be here because it's a little bit of a complicated mess. So don't take that to absolute word, but what the Lakes Region Conservation Trust likes to do is have multiple layering of these easements, so if one would happen to go away, it's still protected by the other. And so that's my understanding. And then this will be a part of some of the other properties that are in the process of being protected either by conveyance in fee or by conservation easement along the southerly portion of the lake. So it's quite a nice project for preservationists and conservationists because, as I mentioned, some of this area is kind of marshy. There's a ton of wildlife in that area, including loons and many other birds, as well as many other types of wildlife. So we did go through the routine of demonstrating with the test pit, lot sizing, density, access off a private road, which would not require a driveway permit, and we're showing a buildable area just for the sake of showing it. This will, because the lot is under 5 acres, also require state of New Hampshire subdivision approval, so there's another kind of guarantee that we're doing this the right way and we'll be creating a viable lot. In many cases in the subdivision world, when we're talking about soils, the soil type that's commonly used and is actually in the ordinance is the Belknap County Soils Book, which many cases do not adequately represent specific soil types within the parcel. And so we do normally what's called a worst case scenario, in that we pick the worst soil type for the particular slope, and that guarantees that you meet it. In this particular instance, the soil type that's listed in the Belknap County Soils Book is kind of the worst soil that there is, so you don't really need to do that. So you have the benefit of that being an added level of security, but we did do the lot calculations. You can see them on the plan, and we do meet what would be normally considered the worst case soils on the lot. And then once again, when you step back and look at the big picture, as the crow flies, nothing's going to change. You're going to have essentially 5 acres with one house on it, so the property will be burdened by an easement. That's pretty much what we have up our sleeve. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you, Kyle. We have some questions from board members. Mr. Rutledge?
Mr. Chairman, just a comment, if you will. I think this is another one of many efforts that we've seen come in front of the planning board that involves individuals or trusts that have seen fit to try to, shall we say, preserve and to conserve some of our areas that are delicate. And I commend the owners for approaching us for the approval in order to accomplish that task.
you. Carl, there is one of butter, the very southwest corner. Is that a lot? That's a lot of record. It looks very small. It looks.
This is actually part of a lot that's across Loon Point Road. You can see the hooks there attaching it,
Oh, I see.
okay? And the strip that's actually between that is owned by the town of Meredith. They don't know it right at the moment, but there's a deed, and so I will be submitting this to Mr. Comerford. He gets the subdivision plans anyway, but I'll submit this and point out to him that the town does have a deed for that little piece of land, so the town's actually in the butter. But the piece that's immediately to the east of that is hooked and attached to the part across the road.
Even though it's divided by that land of the town.
Yep.
My second question is there some barrier there on, is that a culvert?
That's a
going on
culvert
Chemung Road?
crossing Chemung Road,
Okay.
yep, right. I might add a label to that to make it clear. I'll make a note of that.
Anything else from the board? Rich?
Carl, in that same area, is that a stone wall to the north of that little ledge piece there?
Yes. Yep, there's a stone wall which is primarily the southerly border of our parcel.
Okay.
And then the rest of the land that's south of that stone wall to the current location of Chemung Road is where the old Chemung Road used to be. There was quite a hook in the road there, and they flattened it out. So that's actually part of the right-of-way of Chemung Road, left over from when they relocated the old road.
Mr. Chairman? One other question, if I may. I think Carl covered it fairly well, but I guess I'm a little bit surprised, because if you look at this map and you hadn't heard the presentation tonight, you would think somebody's coming in for a two-lot subdivision with, showing proposed septics, proposed building lots on the lot one that's being spun off, so to speak. And is there anything in the deed that references that conveyance is subject to the subdivision approval, but it is being conveyed for conservation purposes?
Well,
I just find this a little misleading if you just look at it.
well, right now, it is a two-lot subdivision.
Yeah.
And right now, it's a 4.9 acre lot with one house on it. And so the deed that will be prepared will be the deed for
Lot one.
Lot 1.
Yeah.
And it will be from Mr. Cohen and Ms. Emmons to Lake Region Conservation Trust. And so the Lake Region Conservation Trust will own it in fee.
Yep.
And then they will subject that lot to a permanent conservation easement in conjunction with this program that the state of New Hampshire has, and also in conjunction with the Town of Meredith Conservation Commission.
But your map, as I understand it, does portray the fact that it is a standalone
Absolutely.
lot if it wanted to be.
In order to convey a parcel of land, it has to be, unfortunately, in the old days in the state, we used to be able to convey a non-buildable portion of land. We can't do that anymore. So you have to demonstrate that it meets all of the subdivision requirements of the town and the state so that they can convey it, whether it's ever going to be built on or not. If we weren't able to do that, if we weren't able to find a test pit in a 4K area and do this lot sizing, they would have done it by an easement.
They have to do it by easement.
Have to do it by
Right.
an easement.
Yeah, okay.
But they wanted it to be held in fee by Lake Region Conservation Trust, so that's why we're going through the routine that we're going through.
Thanks, I appreciate the explanation.
Okay, thank you,
So
Carl.
it will be its own standalone buildable
Right.
lot. It's just going to be owned by a conservation entity.
Okay, Angela, you have some notes?
Sure, I can
Sure.
go through the zoning really quick, although Carl touched on just about everything. So the zoning district that it sits in is the shoreline district. Minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet is a required density that has on-site water and sewer, and as you can see, they both well exceed the 40,000 square foot minimum. Because they are on water and sewer, they're subject to soils and slopes. As Carl described, he used the worst case scenario, and that calculation is on your plan, just above the signature block there. And so you can see they both yield over one lot. And so that has to be at least come out to a number 1. you apply the slopes, and you net out the wetlands. The setbacks for the district, they're shown on the plan, as are the wetlands and the wetland setbacks. This is a non-designated wetland. It is directly across the street from a prime wetland, but they're separated by the road, so this is a non-designated wetland. And I just suggest that a note be added onto the plan just to identify the classification of that wetland. A state subdivision approval is required, and that too should be noted on the plan if it gets recorded. Carl went over, there's a potential 4K septic system area that's shown with the test pit. There is a copy of the test pit log attached to the staff report. There's an existing well that serves the house, and a possible well location is also shown on the new lot. So though Lot 2 is going to be put in conservation, it does meet the minimum requirements to have its own standalone lot, and that's why they're doing this. Their surveyor of record should provide written evidence that the pins have been set prior to recording of the Mylar, and this is a conditional approval, would be a conditional approval that should be valid for a 24-month period.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of
Thank you,
follow-up.
Angela.
Sorry.
That's correct, brothers?
A couple of follow-up questions. I noticed on the plan, they're both referred to as lot number 1. I
Right.
presume one should be lot 1, 2.
That's correct. The one down, the southerly one should be Lot 2.
Okay. And so in terms of that note on the wetlands, said the final plan shall note the wetlands on this site are non-designated. Do you need to refer to it as being lot number 2? Just
Well,
for
they're not.
clarification?
The non-designated wetlands are located on Lot 1 and 2. So this wetland complex that's shown on the plan with the wetland symbol, it should just be noted non-designated wetlands.
All of the wetlands. are
All of the
not-
wetlands.
Oh, okay. I was trying
On
to
both
determine
lot-
whether the one that's contained in lot 2 or along the
Oh,
shore
I see,
where it
that,
was.
that little island of wetland, that's probably exempt. I would,
It
no,
is.
it's big enough?
It's 7,000 square feet.
Oh, it
so
is.
it's not- Yeah.
So they're
That's
both-
why it has a setback from it.
So all wetlands are non-designated?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I see that setback.
That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Can we open it to the public? Any questions from the public? There being none, we'll return to the board for further discussion, questions, or a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Brothers?
as usual, we get the discussion going anyway before the motion, but I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, very
In the
good.
matter of Gilman, Emmons, and Eric Cohen proposed subdivision application, accessories reference map R14 lot 57, located at 21 Loon Point Road in the Lake Wickawas watershed and the Shoreline District, that we approve that subdivision subject to the final plan showing the wetlands on this site in terms of subdivision plat are listed as non-designated, and obviously subject to a state subdivision approval being required for the subdivision, and that also being noted on the plan. The survey of record shall provide the written evidence that all pins have been set prior to recording the Mylar, and of course the conditional subdivision approval is valid for a period of 24 months, at which time final approval must be obtained or a public hearing would be required and held for the planning board to grant additional time.
Thank you.
I second that motion.
We have a second. Okay, Mary Lee, would you hold the board?
Mrs. Lapham?
Yes, yes.
She said yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I did, I heard you, but.
Oh, I didn't have a mic.
Who to go to now. What did I do here? Mr. Turk, no, you last.
Mr. Gergen?
Mr. Gergen says yes.
Brothers says yes.
Mr. Brothers and Mr. Tui.
Mr. Tui says yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And
Christmas
as
Carol.
this concludes my 33rd year of making presentations before the planning board, it's been a pleasure, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
You too. Congratulations.
I know I don't look that old.
You were a minor when you first presented, weren't you?
I thought you were announced early time.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Mary Lee, do we have any plans that require signatures?
Yeah.
And we do have a few minutes.
And
Angela, yeah, do you have any announcements?
Yep.
And Liz might want a minute or two. Well,
I was wondering if anybody wanted a written copy of the formal planning board meeting dates and their application dates. This is not workshop, this is a meeting schedule for 2015. Does anybody want a written copy?
Yes, please.
It's the one you sent us, right?
It is, but I don't know if you guys printed them out.
I did.
No, that's a workshop,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
just some proposed workshop.
Right.
This is actually our meeting schedule.
Okay, Peter?
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know. Did Roger receive one? Okay. Anything else, Angela?
Well, I was wondering if we're going to figure out what our workshop. I was hoping more people would be present. Liz, I know that some of the meetings didn't work for you.
No.
And I know basically every second Tuesday doesn't work for Ann because she has a library's trustee meeting. So moving any of the meetings, if everybody's okay with moving your conflicts to a Monday, that means Ann can come too, as long as everybody else didn't have a Monday conflict.
There's a select board issue too.
But that's first and third.
First
We
and
do the
third.
second Tuesday first.
So if we could do second Monday.
Yep.
You'd be able to come.
Yeah, it's first and third,
Yeah,
but I just
first
wanted to
and
make
third,
sure that, you know,
Okay, then we have a consensus that the second and fourth Mondays could be used for workshops.
Well, not the fourth, because we don't want to have a workshop right before the meeting.
Well, we would have a meeting on
The
Tuesday.
Tuesday, right after the workshop on a Monday. We'd be meeting one night, then the second night. I'm just thinking about one workshop the second week of every month. Then, so we have a workshop just dedicated to the master plan and reviewing the materials I gave you.
so let me ask a question. Is that a sufficient a period of time in order to give it the attention it needs, one meeting a month?
I think so, because the workshop would be just dedicated a couple hours to that. I would expect just discussion and feedback from you guys. I'd send you whatever material that I would like you to review in advance.
Okay, that's fine then. I just want to make sure.
I think after 2 or 3 meetings, we'll have a little feel of that. And then we'll have to maybe reconsider.
The obvious thing is that as a standard procedure, on the second Monday, there's going to be days for me and I'm sure for others that'll interfere with other things. So
How many Mondays do you anticipate?
Well,
how long will this go on?
I didn't want to go into the summer, so I was thinking the rest of the winter through the spring.
There will be a couple Mondays then that I will not be able to make.
Okay. But there's the Tuesdays that you can come too.
Right.
5 or 6.
But I'll be away some of that time.
Oh, okay, so what Tuesdays did not work for you, but Mondays would?
I don't think that was her point.
No, that was-
She's going to be out of the area
I'm not going to
Right.
even,
continuously
Right, I
regardless of
understand
those
that.
2 days, if I understood you correctly.
right.
Right, but for all 3 conflicts, you're going to be out of town completely?
No, my question was, how many how, we're going to start, are we going to start this in January?
Yes,
Okay,
January 13th.
so I would not be available Monday the 20th, the second Monday. I would be available for that one. I would not be available.
So you're not available January 12th or 13th?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you
January
are.
12th, sorry.
What's the second one?
How about January 13th?
January's fine.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
about April
Okay.
and May.
I thought I heard January, sorry.
No. So the 13th is okay.
It's a Tuesday.
Right.
Okay. I thought that Ann had a problem with that. I thought we're looking at Mondays.
I am.
Okay, so
The
we
12th.
want to completely abandon Tuesdays.
Monday is the
and go straight to
13th.
Mondays?
Dick.
Do you want to do that?
Mondays what?
Monday is the 13th. You're in the wrong calendar.
January
Monday,
12th is a
Monday is
No.
is the 12th.
My calendar says
2015.
April 2015, says the
Oh, you're
13th.
talking April.
Because we're January.
I'm talking-
April is the 13th.
January, February, and March are fine for me.
Ah,
That's my question. How many days do we have to do this?
And so, and April 13 and 14 are out for you, right, Liz?
April 13 would be tough, but I could make April 13.
And so could Ann.
April 13 is okay, but May 11th is definitely out.
Okay.
All right, we have, I think we're doing very well if we can narrow, if we can pick 4 dates right now.
It's obvious that busy people are busy.
Yeah.
So,
And then be across the pond.
And for the, and in an effort to involve Ann, maybe we should move the February meeting date to a Monday.
well, I
Can we
put
do
them, I
that?
put them all Mondays.
they're all Mondays.
Should, okay, I wasn't sure if we were doing.
They're all
Mondays.
Mondays.
They're all Mondays, okay.
Right,
Because she can't do anything.
Okay. All right.
okay.
That's just easy.
So the second Monday of January, February,
12th,
March,
The
and
12th, the 9th.
January
the
12th,
9th,
February 9th, March
13th,
9th, April 13th,
And 11th. That's what I have now. Okay. I'm going to book the annex then.
okay. Any other comments then?
No, that's great.
That's great, thank you very much.
You can do it on Monday,
7 p.m.
Okay.
Liz, your committee has been hard at work, you met with the selectmen, and
Well,
had a lot of public input, you wanted to give
No,
us a sentence or two?
it was a very good meeting, I thought, and I did print out, but I think you all have these if you, that I've given you tonight. If you went to the meeting, you got them. If you'd not, I printed them out. I print out some more for you. It was a good, I felt, on the whole, people, it was not confrontational, it was informational. And people left with information, and they had a broader and better idea of what is being proposed. And the general public hearing will be January 26th. And that will be one where I would encourage the whole planning board, if they can, to attend that. Because that will be the public hearing, when the selectmen will then vote on whether they want to accept this plan or not.
And I believe the other thing too is town manager is looking at a forum with more space, so I think he's working with the school officials right now.
And, you know, on anything that's changed, on anything that's new, there's always going to be people who have questions, have concerns. I was telling Peter, I carry this in my purse now, so that when I'm asked at the post office, I can whip it out and we can talk about it. I think that from the committee's point of view, the advisory committee, which I was your representative on, that this is not a solution, but it is the best plan that we can come up with. If you love Meredith, if you want to keep Meredith as it is, the traffic will move slowly, but it will move continuously. And I think that as we talk about it more and as more conversations go on, people will see. I've only met one person who was so very negative that I couldn't at least have a conversation with him. But otherwise, I do think people are being open-minded, and I think they're looking at this not just as change and why the hell do we have to have 3 roundabouts, but you know, this will not only move the traffic, it's not a permanent, it's not a solution, it's not going to be all and end all. No, but I think the committee tried to come up with what was best, the best traffic pattern we could do without putting in a 4-lane highway through Meredith. So I would encourage you to, if you have any, I don't believe we're going to have another PAC meeting, although there is a tentative one scheduled for the 15th of January if we need it. And I haven't heard yet whether we're going to do that or not.
What's the time of that meeting on the 26th?
January 26th, it'll be 7 o'clock.
I think they were shooting for 6.
Oh, that's news to me then.
Well,
We hadn't really
I just
said.
happened to talk with Phil yesterday.
Okay, then you know.
And I think the reason that maybe 6 is they wanted to have it in the evening after most people work, but at the same time, we had a number of people who voiced concerns about 7 and going off in there might be too late for
Okay.
a lot of people. So
Well,
it's a compromise, I
That
think.
hasn't been said, but
The other piece of it, I think that's important, is the town manager, the department head, superintendent, highway, fire department, they all met today for several hours with the consultant for the state of New Hampshire to discuss the particulars of under the road, the infrastructure, because that is a critical piece. The way it was originally structured is he who owned it would have the responsibility for coordination and everything else. And obviously, the construction, the time period, the monitoring of that, and the cycling of those disruptions to the traffic is critical. So we're going to get an update again at the.
that's good to hear.
at the
That's
selectmen's
news to me
meetings,
because
but
that
it's
was
a very
not,
important piece of it.
that was not sent out to any of us on the advisory committee that
Does
happened.
that, would
The
that
other
affect
major-
the design or anything like that?
The other major concern, and one of mine, and almost, everyone on the committee, is a safety concern, getting fire trucks around and so on. And I think some of those questions were well met, I think, at that meeting, but they need to be met again and again. And so this needs to, the dialogue needs to go on about that, and people need to really understand. And in fact, at our last PAC meeting, one of the DOT guys, I think it was a DOT guy, but it could have been also one of the McFarland guys, said when they came up with this similar problem of the roundabout and moving trucks through, they actually set up, they set up a cone type thing and actually proved and did it so that everyone could, the people involved, and obviously the fire department's concerned and the police are concerned. And we should be concerned. We don't want to have any kind of congestion there. So, but they did prove to them that it could work. And like the one up, at McDonald's there, when that first came in, everybody was blah, 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 blah. And, now it's great. You can go around it and get around it, and it's not a problem. So, that's interesting to hear. That I'm glad that happened because I know there were some real reservations by the DPW, the police, and the fire, and I hope maybe some of those questions have been answered.
Mr. Chairman, I attended that meeting for about an hour and a half, and I had another meeting after that, so I had to leave early. One of the things that came out of that meeting was that the success of the model of Manchester, Vermont, and I think that it behooves us behooves the committee to have as much information with regard to the implementation and the success or lack thereof of that particular project, because it could very well be someone's, this is not reinventing the wheel, someone's already done this before, number one. Number two is, there were a number of people, in a sense that the fact that this is a grant, that this is not going to cost taxpayers of Meredith any money, some people are of the opinion, well, why do it this way? Why don't we save the money can be used elsewhere? And I just it's a one shot. In other words, you use it or lose it, is basically what it boils down to. I think you need to, someone besides Lou needs to emphasize that, okay?
I think when we do one-on-one with people, I certainly am, and I know other people in the committee are as well.
But I mean,
That's a good point.
I can tell you that my family, my mother and father lived in Hilton Head, South Carolina for many, many years, and they had a 2-lane roundabout, but they didn't have the same problems we had.
I think that what happened, it was in the beginning with the 2-lane, I mean, that was a lot of pavement to lay down.
I'm not questioning what you came up with. I'm just saying that I've seen a solution from, on one hand, and the committee evaluated that and discarded it. Bob Ambrose was concerned about the Route 25 traffic coming, Route 25 traffic coming down towards Main Street. Okay, where now we have 2 lanes and it'll go to 1. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely, it's, you know, and I was telling Peter earlier, I always use Lake Street as my, you know, go to either to the light or to the, you know, to Laconia or to go to Hanford's. And I have mentally been trying to come down the Lake Street one, still to me has a little bit of a you know, how you're gonna come out, or, I mean, so, you know, it's not finalized, but I agree on that point, and I think everybody should do that. I think when you're at Pleasant Street one, seems, I can visualize that and say, this could work really, really well.
Especially getting in and out of the park, out of the shopping center.
Absolutely, that one seems to work very well. The Lake Street one, I'm still trying to
Put your arms around it.
put,
Put
yeah,
down Lake
put
Street
put
and
that in
then-
my head, so next time you go down Lake Street, try and figure, or if you're trying to turn left onto Lake Street, try and, you know, I mean, it is a visualization
You
process.
go around the circle and you exit on the second.
I
exit
know,
out.
I know. But those are all good points, and I'm trying to write, when people stop me, I've been trying to write down what their, you know, concerns are, because I think there's legitimate concern, and for what we're gonna, if this goes through, it is going to be a major development for Meredith. And I don't know how they're ever gonna get it all built.
Well, you know, there's another point too that I would like to make, and that is that if anything is timely, this is. We have a waterfront infrastructure that we're very concerned about, and we need to do something about the town docks. They are in serious need of attention. We also have a problem with erosion in that area where that stream comes in up near town docks.
That comes from the lumberyard.
That is,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we have issues there. Public Works, water and sewer, major issues underneath the pavement of that Route 3 and Route 25 intersection. We're constantly digging it up, everybody knows that. The piping there is archaic, to say the least. A major sewer trunk line goes, two of them, thank you, Peter.
Two of the state.
You know, passes through,
River.
and we'll finally be able to get something going on that. It's been delayed time and time again because it's waited for this decision regarding the 25, Route 3 highway. You don't want to dig it up and then have to dig it up again. So I think it's very timely, and I'm thrilled that the committee is making some progress. Anything else for tonight,
I have
Angela?
something very quick. Mr. Cucina, you guys can recall the Thompson-Taylor boundary line adjustment. Mr. Cucina filed an appeal with Superior Court, and on Monday the 15th, I was there with Walter, because he made a motion to dismiss. And
Who did?
Walter, the town
Our
manager,
attorney.
our representation, made a motion to dismiss Mr. Pacino's appeal to Superior Court, and the motion was granted. So,
Okay.
that's over.
Okay,
That came and went, just like that.
that came and went.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we
just
have,
want to let you know.
That's the way it is for now.
okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, those in favor? Aye. Very much.
I don't know if you were at the meeting, that's,
7:53.
I'm a representative to this 325 advisory committee, and so I'm just waiting on it to take a look at those two. And then on the other sheet, it's just a question answer.